Welcome to the show. Let's talk health with Dr. Yash Gulati. During this corona pandemic, many children have been confined to homes. They did not go to school, did not go to college. Some of them have been indulging in binge eating and many other not desirable habits. What happened to children? What are the ailments that can affect children? To discuss that, we have a very prominent pediatrician, Dr. Neelam Mohan, who is not only a pediatrician but also specializes in liver ailments in children and has been popularizing liver transplant in children whenever it required. Dr. Neelam Mohan, you're very welcome to this show.
Thank you so much. Yes.
There is this feeling that corona affects adults and elderly and spares the children. Is that true?
To some extent, what people probably wanted to say is that it's not so severe in children. But the truth is, it doesn't spare the children. So, whatever families that I've seen where I'm getting to see a lot of children, and in those children, their parents have been involved, or grandparents and parents. So, the truth is, it doesn't spare the children. But the other truth is, it is relatively mild in children with less side effects. Having said that, recently we found out a condition called multi-inflammatory syndrome, which actually came through UK, and now we are seeing so much of it in India. And I was talking recently to a lot of other pediatricians in South Delhi, and I was pretty surprised. Even in their OPDs, they are seeing children coming with problems related to their liver, with their joints and inflammation, etc. So it doesn't really spare.
Yeah, sure. So that means that all the children should take the precautions that adults are taking.
Absolutely.
Universal precautions they
Absolutely.
also must take.
Beyond doubt.
And children have been sitting at home watching computer or movies all the time and not being exposed to sunlight, etc., etc. And many of them been indulging in binge eating and eating at the wrong time, sleeping at the wrong time.
So true. I really like this because the major problem with children is their eating style. Like a lot of children miss their breakfast and then they eat too fast and they eat a lot in the evenings. They eat in nights. And these are all extremely bad habits because we are realizing that this fast foods and fried foods and all are giving rise to a lot of obesity in children. You will be surprised that there were a compilation of 55 studies from 16 different states in India. And recently, what it showed us was the prevalence is 20% obesity. 1 in 5 children are obese.
Is obese.
Yes, obese, forget overweight. So this is something really frightening. We would have never thought. And it's not like from one state.
Is there some genetic element to that?
Well, it's not all genetics because people get away by saying that, it's all genetics and all. Yes, there are some genes which have been shown in adults, and the same thing I would extrapolate to children. But most of the studies which have been done have shown beyond doubt, we call it significant value. That means it's not like Berrer, it's like very sure about what we are showing. Is that these studies have shown that children who've been eating more of carbohydrates, fast food, chips, cool drinks. So Cokes, cool drinks, chips, fast food, these were the ones which have been significantly higher in children with liver disease and obesity. So it's not all about genes, it's about the lifestyle that you're leading.
So what will you advise the parents at home? How should they convince their children not to indulge in this kind of food, and what kind of food they should be eating at home?
Yeah, that's a good thing. Like I always say that parenting is something really very important. All of us assume that when we become parents, कि ये तो biological है, विरासत में मैंने अपने बच्चों को पालना सीखा है, मेरे माँ बाप. Things have changed. You need to sometimes learn, you need to ask, you need to study, you need to see how to go about the right way of parenting, because there are, I think, like how a child behaves is a lot what you have taught them in parenting. One is a very, a parent who says no to nothing. And one is a parent who says, just do what I weigh. Both are extreme wrongs. The best parenting is an authoritative parenting where certain rules are laid in the house. You should not shy away from laying rules, and those rules need to
So
be
how do you
followed.
guide about those
So
rules?
the rules are like, you need to have the right time of eating. There's no point eating throughout the day. There is a discipline, there is a right time of eating, there is a right time of sleeping. Your activity time is very important. Parents are not at all concentrating a lot. They're now with, everybody is on a, mobile phone or a game or a laptop or a computer on that. So the outdoor games has significantly decreased. Now, in general, what is maths? In and out. So people are going on eating, but there is no out. There is nothing that you're doing to burn that food that you've eaten. You don't realize that one chocolate and biscuits, according to me, are a waste of calories, because one biscuit may have as much as calorie close to a roti, a small
Really?
roti. So
So if you
people
take three
sit and
biscuits,
eat.
you have taken
No,
three rotis.
children actually sit and eat a packet of biscuit.
Yeah,
So just imagine what they are doing. They just
absolutely.
don't realize. And another studies, several studies, both in India, UK, Europe, have shown that the major brunt is the sugars and so more than the fat. So nobody gets fat eating कि घर की सब्जी दाल रोटी चावल मैं उसको कम करने के लिए I'm not saying no, these are not to be reduced. What I'm asking is to reduce the junk, unnecessary food, your cool drinks, chips, cokes, sweets, biscuits, all these are a big no.
Yeah,
So
that's
that
right.
is what
Dr.
I'm
Neelam,
saying.
we know in
This
adults.
namkeen,
Yeah.
people get used to कि नहीं ये Indian fast food तो जैसे samosas and kachoris are
No, they are
also full of calories.
Dr. Neelam Mohan, we know in adults, and we keep telling people, if you're obese, your risk of hypertension, your risk of heart disease, your worsening of diabetes is much higher. So, if a child is obese, then what happens?
I'm so happy you asked this question, because none of the parents know. When I talk to them about this clinic, they can't believe it. नहीं ये तो healthy है. They don't even like to say the word ये मोटा है. They want to just say ये तो healthy है.
खाते पीते घर का.
So they don't want to even accept the fact that the child is overweight or obese. So first step is that you'll be shocked what Dr. Yash Gulati said. All these things, 25% of the children to 40% of the children have issues with triglycerides and cholesterol, and 10 to 15% have the blood pressure, insulin problem, joint problems, irritability, weakness, a lack of concentration. So it becomes like a vicious cycle. जब आप मोटे होते हो तो आपको थक जाते हो, fatigability, and then you don't want to work. So
then you can't perform well in school, perform well in college.
So concentration also decreases.
It's a vicious cycle.
Cognition decreases.
Yeah.
So these are very important to understand कि आपको जो seedling है, अगर आपने एक वो कुछ कहावत है ना, बबूल का पेड़ बोए तो आम कहाँ से हुए. तो बचपन में अगर आपने सही संस्कार नहीं दिए तो वो बड़े जाके चेंज नहीं हो पाएंगे. तो ये जो आप बता रहे हो कि हार्ट डिजीज हो रही है, ये तो वो एक दिन में आपकी वेसल में एक दिन में कोई तेल जाके नहीं जमेगा.
Absolutely right. I am reminded of दोहा by कबीर.
हाँ,
किया है सो किए हो, अब कहे पछताए, बोए पेड़ बबूल का आम कहाँ से आए.
That's what
तो
I was-
आपने जो ये अपना इतना गड़बड़ बचपन में किया.
So-
Dr. Neelam, very interesting thing. There is a study which mentions that the deaths in young adults due to cardiac illnesses are the highest in India, and is probably related to pot-bellied adults.
Absolutely.
So does this have any link with the obesity in children?
Absolutely. Now, what is very great, this global nutrition report came in 2018, very latest report, which is talking a very unique thing. What we are seeing in Asians and especially Indians is, you may not find them overall fat, but they have a huge pot bellied, and because of that, the entire fat is getting into their liver and their other issues, what we are saying. So these are very big issues, the Indian pot bellied, because कहा जाता है कि बहुत सालों पहले आर जीन्स वे सच कि हमें बचाने की आदत हो गई थी हमारी बॉडी को. सो द बॉडी यूज टू सेव द फूड एंड स्टोर इट इन द लिवर कि आगे जाके कभी काम आएगा. But that genes continue to be in us, and therefore we store a higher percentage of fat in our body as compared to others. If you see American or an African, वो लोग अगर बड़े भी हैं मोटे हैं उनकी the muscle mass is very high. But if you see an Indian, if they are there, they are otherwise very thin, and it's only and it gets very difficult for us. We need to work a lot.
So we have to be doubly careful.
We have to work a lot. तो उसीलिए मैं कह रही हूँ हाथ जोड़कर हर जो भी ये इस प्रोग्राम को देख रहा है कि प्लीज इसे मजाक मत समझिए, इसे हंसी में मत उड़ाइए. प्लीज आप कृपया करके टेक केयर ऑफ योर चिल्ड्रन. what you need to do in childhood and adolescence is what is seeing in adults. अगर आपकी हार्ट डिजीज कम करनी है, आपको डायबिटीज कम करनी है, आपको प्रॉब्लम्स विद जॉइंट्स, एनीथिंग आपको, you basically need to work in childhood.
तो वो प्यारा सा गोलू सा मोटा सा बच्चा is not really a good thing.
Absolutely.
You have to accept it कि the child may actually be morbidly obese.
Correct.
And you have to take precautions. You have to take care of the diet, exercise, all these things. Ask Dr. Neelam Mohan
एक छोटी बात बोलूंगी मैं, क्या होता है कि नहीं ये तो बस 2-3 किलो बढ़ा है, तो वो परसेंटेज नहीं देखते हैं. अगर 10 किलो का बच्चा 3 किलो बढ़ा है तो वो तो 30% बढ़ा है. मतलब एक अडल्ट जो 60 किलो का होना चाहिए वो आपका बन गया है 75 या 80. तो you have to see the percentage of the weight that they are getting.
Dr. Neelam, we talked about diet issues in children. So there are many children who have liver issues. They are all obviously not because of diet. There must be other reasons also. And there are, as you know, you are in the forefront of promoting liver transplant in children, and you have done a lot of work on that. So what are those issues where even a small child needs liver transplant? What happens?
Yes, these questions many ask. In fact, I'm happy to share that the world's smallest baby was done by our team, which is 2 kg.
Right.
So people want to know कि बच्चों में क्यों हो जाता है. So those are quite a lot of problems which are anatomic, कि आप पैदा हो तो आपकी कोई structure, कुछ पित्त की नली नहीं बनना. So structural defects and metabolic, कि आपकी कोई एक जीन की कमी होने की, कोई एंजाइम की कमी. But besides that, what is there and what we are seeing now, मुझे ऐसे लगता है कि थोड़े decades में the fatty liver disease will be the commonest liver disease that we doctors will be seeing बच्चों की, because the way we are progressing.
But that's a frightening scenario.
It's a frightening
so
scenario.
We must take steps.
If you're not able to control your metabolic and anatomic कि भगवान ने कुछ गलत हो गया है, so fair enough that I'm saying, उसके लिए तो आपको liver disease को manage करना, transplant करना. By the grace of God, we've done around small children में 350 transplant. So fortunately अब कोई बच्चा liver disease से इतना they don't die because we are able to provide them care. ये सब ज्ञान almost 20 साल पहले इस country में नहीं था.
Yeah, but why come to that stage?
Right. But जो आपके हाथ में है वो ये है कि अगर आप सही एक्टिविटी, एक्सरसाइज, और एक और वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग, इवन अगर आपका वेट 10% कम हुआ है, बट द इम्पैक्ट दैट विल हैव ऑन द लिवर फैट is going to be not 5-10%. It will be 3-fold to 4-fold.
Wow, that's
so that
amazing.
And also एक बारी स्कारिंग जब हम बोलते हैं, चोट लगने से जो स्कार, एक बारी लिवर स्कार्ड हो गया तो कुछ नहीं कर नहीं सकते, आपको तो सिर्फ लिवर बदली करनी है. So therefore the scarring, when it is seen in adults, all that can do is a transplant.
General public often associates cirrhosis or scarring in liver only to alcohol.
Correct.
Not just alcohol. There are other bad diet things also.
In fact, it is more than alcohol also.
Very important. So Dr. Neelam, it's been fascinating talking to you. These myths that corona doesn't happen in children, it doesn't cause problem in children, also not true. कि ये जो गोलू सा मोटा सा पेशेंट है, ये बड़ा प्यारा सा है, नहीं ओबीज है, उसको हमको ध्यान से
उसको हेल्दी मत बोले, इकरार करें.
We have to take care that in adulthood or later doesn't cause problem. Liver problems can happen in children. Many other problems can happen because of binge eating. Good dietary habits, good exercise, regulated exercise and diet is extremely
And a
important,
parenting balance.
and discipline at home.
Get it.
is
It is
extreme-
nothing feel shy
extremely
about
important.
putting some rules and regulations.
Thank you. You are a good pediatrician giving good advices and bring discipline at home. Thank you, Dr. Neelam Mohan, for
It was
being with us.
indeed a
Thank you
pleasure
very
to
much
be
indeed.